guys, welcome back to my channel, Niki in the Kitchi. I'm Niki, this is my Kitchi, and I'm back again to share with you guys a brand new recipe. Before we get started, I want to remind you guys to follow my food Instagram account. It's called @nourishment, and I will put the handle for that below. As well as make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, share this with your friends, and like and comment because it's really important to get some feedback. Support me, thanks. Okay, now we can start. We are going to be making mini vegan pot pies with little vegan crusts to go on top of that. When I say mini, I mean mini. So I found these adorable ramekins from, I bought them from Amazon actually, and I am so obsessed. Since we're making a pie crust as well as the filling, we're going to start with the ingredients for the pie crust first because it has to sit for 30 minutes. So I want to go ahead and make that and move forward with the filling. We only need a couple of ingredients. 1 1/3 cups of flour, half a teaspoon of Himalayan sea salt, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and this is going to help it rise in the oven, half a cup of coconut oil, 7 tablespoons of ice water, and 2 teaspoons of dried thyme. So I'm going to start with the flour, 1/4 of a teaspoon of our baking powder, and then half a teaspoon of salt. I usually just eyeball this, so I'm going to do the same here. 2 teaspoons of dried thyme. I'm just going to mix together the dry ingredients. And now we're going to go ahead and add half a cup of our coconut oil. So you want to make sure that the coconut oil is at room temperature. It's going to make a big difference in the consistency of our crust. So we're going to go ahead and put in our coconut oil into the mix. Now we're going to go in and slowly incorporate this into the flour. It's gotten to a nice crumbly consistency, so we're going to add in our water. So we're going to do 1 tablespoon at a time. Mix it around a little bit. The consistency is coming together. You don't want it to be too sticky, but you want it to be able to be molded into a ball. Get a little bit of flour on my hands and grab this. So we're just molding this into a ball shape. I'm just gonna stick it back in the bowl, cover it with some saran wrap, and come back to this in 30 minutes. While the pie crust is setting inside the refrigerator, we are going to get started with the ingredients for our vegan pot pie filling. We will start with 1 medium onion that I diced very finely. So I'm using organic vegetables, which tend to be a little bit smaller, so keep that in mind with the size and what you're buying. But I used about 4 medium organic carrots and chop these up pretty small. I also have about 4 medium organic celery stalks chopped really finely, about 8 ounces of baby bella mushrooms chopped roughly, 1.5 cups of frozen peas that have thawed. We're going to add in a couple handfuls of baby spinach, maybe around 2 cups, another half cup of flour. I've got 3 cloves of garlic minced, about 1/3 of a cup of parsley chopped very finely, several sprigs of fresh thyme that we're going to add in the filling as well, probably about a teaspoon, 1 can of white beans, and this is really going to give it some substance, some protein. We are going to use about 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, 2 cups of vegetable broth, half a cup of white wine, 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil, about half a cup of almond milk, 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, and again, salt and pepper to taste. So what I'm about to do is saute these vegetables, and we're gonna start building our base for the filling. So let's go ahead and move to the stove and get started on that. So I've already started the heat on this pot, medium to low, and I'm gonna add in roughly 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Before we saute the onions, carrots, celery, peas, everything, we are going to start with just garlic and our beans. Add in the garlic. Just gonna stir that around a little bit. Now we're going to add in our white beans. Stir this around until the beans and garlic are a little bit sauteed, and then we're gonna take them out and set them aside to add back in later. Use the same pot to add in some more olive oil, onion. We're just gonna let this cook for a couple minutes and add in our mushrooms to release some of their moisture. Give that a good stir. I'm also gonna add in a little hint of salt. Just let the mushroom release some of its moisture and flavor for a little bit, a couple more minutes, and then we're gonna add in our celery and carrots. So I just wanna point out, look at all the liquid that has formed in this pot just from the mushrooms. I added no liquid here, so I want to let everything evaporate. We're ready to add in our celery and carrots, so we're gonna add these in one at a time. I'm just gonna give that a stir. So now we can go ahead and add in our spices. I'm adding some salt, pepper, nutritional yeast, thyme, and some smoked paprika. It's been about 4 to 5 minutes. Add in our spinach. So after our mushrooms were done cooking, to be honest, my camera stopped working, so I have to explain this to you guys. We went ahead and added in the flour, mixed it together, and then we added in all of our liquids, which included the white wine, almond milk, and vegetable stock, as well as the little bit of soy sauce. So I mixed that together, made sure it's really smooth, and this is kind of how our pot pie consistency and texture is coming together. And now that it has been simmering for a little bit, we are going to take this off the heat and add in our remaining ingredients. Toss in our peas, get those beans and garlic back in, and the parsley that we had. So we're gonna set this aside. We are back and ready to put everything together. So we're gonna start with our dough. It was setting for about 30 minutes. We wanna act quickly because the coconut oil did get a little bit harder, but the temperature of my hands is gonna instantly soften it, and I can already feel it. So we're gonna divide this into 4 sections. What I'm going to do next is kind of squish it with my hands. One at a time. They're gonna be kind of little toppers. And I'm actually gonna take a little bit from the edge because I wanna add a little decoration to it. This is optional, of course, but we're already being cute with our ramekin, so might as well be cute with the dough. I've got this little piece. Roll that up. I'm gonna cut that into 3 little pieces. We're just gonna braid this dough. And then stick it right on top. We've got our pot of pie filling, so we're going to quickly incorporate this. So you just want to fill these to the top them with our little pie crust. Kind of press on the edge of the crust. And you want to make sure that each one of these has a little ventilation holes. These are ready to go in the oven. They're so cute. These are going to go in at around 375 degrees. Stay tuned. We are back. Our pies are ready and out of the oven. I baked them for about 20 minutes and then I put them on broil on high for the last 5 minutes. So the tops get nice and crispy. This one came out to be my favorite. Let's try this out and see what we think. This is so good. The crust is really flaky and buttery. I want another bite. That was so good. It is steaming hot, but it's so delicious. I can't stop. I hope you've enjoyed this recipe. You can go home and make it and let me know how it is. Until we meet again, it will be almost Christmas time, and I'm going to have a brand new Christmas recipe for you guys. See you guys next time. Bye!